Oh, we got more bitty bits coming in. Thank you guys. 100 bits for Pinochle. Here's the tip without the Q, Kappa. Oh, fuck you, buddy. Thank you kindly. Welcome back. We're getting into game number 1. Brand new best of 3 kicking off here. Absolutely one of Europe's best Zerg players. Coming, doing a lot of training in Korea, kicking ass and taking names. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Clash's blue Zerg Elazer. And of course, coming up against him in the bottom right side, going to be the pink Protoss Goblin, whose tricks and antics I think will not work out so favorably against this opponent. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying this in any demeaning way to put Goblin down, right? But I don't think the moves he was making should have won him that last series. I actually put a lot of the blame, and no offense, but on Damaga. I think the wrong moves cost him a game against a player he probably should have beat. But decision making is easier to make when you're in the back seat observing and not in the front seat driving and playing. So, you know, far be it for me to be too harsh on the criticism. That being said, though, I don't think Elazer will make a lot of the same mistakes Damaga made, and I don't think he's going to make the same... I think I'm saying mistakes here, but honestly, it was like judgment calls that were the problem. It's not like, oh man, he messed up and he was supply blocked, what a mistake. But it was more like, oh, he chose not to move, his decision-making wasn't flawless, like, hence, quote-unquote, mistakes. But really, however you want to phrase it, I don't think Elazer will make whatever errors in judgment there were that cost Damaga that series. And in fact, what I really like about Elazer is he is really aggressive compared to Damaga too. So we'll always had Damaga play pretty passive and maybe over defensive in a lot of situations. I don't know that we'll see that out of Elazer. Either way, it's kind of cool because Goblin, you know, having beat Damaga does set this point to measure where, like, look, we know he knows how to play that late game. He can go super, Gosu, Stargate, multi-build, whatever. And it's the matter of, like, it's not a question of, like, does it work? We just witness it work. It's, will it work against Elazer? By the way, Elazer and Lambo, if you guys didn't see it, the Clash boys did really well at Austin. And... man, it was real cool seeing a lot of teammates get far. We had Snoot and Mana, I think, make it a round of 8. We had Elazer, Lambo, and it was like the first time I felt there was like a little bit more of a team dynamic, because it's been a while since we've seen teammates make it so far. But anyways, we find ourselves now in this qualifier, and none of that matters. It's just cool things that I got to see over the weekend. Also, side note, I really wish I hadn't been so sick. I say sick tentatively, it was more like an allergy thing, but I got to meet so many of you lovely bastards at Austin, and I had a great time saying hi. Some people would just stop by and shake my hand, say thanks for what you do, and like move on. Some people wanted pictures and selfies. And I really wish, like, this is the call, right? If any of you guys took a picture with me at Austin, please post it somewhere. I would love to share that. I love taking pictures with the fans. It's really cool having someone come up to you. I'm never going to get over that feeling, I don't think. I'm totally over the excitement I used to have 3 years ago, you know, flying out to MLG for a StarCraft tournament, like staying in a hotel with 5 other people, the flight anxiety of going. I'm over that shit. That's a chore to me now, but I'm still not over meeting people for the first time. It's super nice. Although I still find it so perplexing because there's a lot of people, like not the majority, but I've still met a large percentage of people who, you know, they'll come up and they say hi, I'll shake their hand, I'm like, sorry, who are you? And they'll either not even have a Twitch name because they don't use Twitch, or they like, their first response is, I don't even play StarCraft that much. Like, I'm gonna know your StarCraft name because I've hit you with a ladder or something, right? Like, if you guys ever see me, or frankly, anybody at one of these events, don't be shy. Hey, I'm John, it's nice to meet you. Like, it makes it so much less awkward. But anyways, yeah, Goblin coming up against the Elazer. Things are already heading towards Stargates. It's pretty clear the style that Goblin likes to play. And I guess this double Stargate thing's still fresh. It's not something I would call meta, but it's something we're seeing multiple Protoss players at really high level. I mean, again, referencing Mana at Austin, or I think, was it Zest? I don't remember who in GSL, but like, there's just proof in the pudding that multiple Stargates work. But even if you see a Korean pro do a build, it doesn't mean you can execute it as well as them. If you see Mana do a build, it's not simply copy paste the build order. You still have to be pretty experienced and practice with it. And I think that it's safe to say Goblin would be, only because of his old play style. Because if you guys don't recall, Goblin, before Haas was even Haas, Goblin, he was going like 9 Stargate oracles, right? Now that is absolutely an over exaggeration, and I don't think he ever actually went 9 Stargates, but the point is he knows how to use his air units pretty well. We saw this especially with Damaga, like he was nailing the pickups of the Phoenix. I think the micro on them was good too. I mean, how many people can dodge in through 2 Queens, 3 Spore Crawlers and not lose a single Phoenix? Regardless of all this Phoenix though, up top, he does see that these roaches are moving out. He can maybe pick off 1 or 2 here in the middle of the map. Easier said than done. It takes quite a few shots from these Phoenix to actually kill them. Yeah, there's just no power in this roach attack by the time it reaches the other side of the field. Duddles, Ripkin, you were easily the most chill person about just hanging out with me despite not knowing who I am. Who the hell were you anyways? Who the hell is Duddles anyways? No, that caught me off guard meeting you at the bar, dude. That was just like a total surprise. Because, like, there's some people you expect to see at an event, right? But then you meet some people who you know from chat or you've just memed with. You totally didn't I did like you. I didn't expect to run into you at all there. That's a really cool surprise for me. And actually, that picture we took, I don't even know who, like, half the people in that picture were. But that was easily one of my favorite pictures from the weekend. But yeah, what's up, Duddles? Good to see you in chat. A little bit awkward here, the Phoenix being problems. All the Overlords getting killed. The Lazer's almost getting supply blocked, but not like it's his fault. It's thanks to Goblin's Phoenix. And that's 5 Queens here, plus several Spores. I think it's kind of at the end of the attack for now. But the beauty of these Phoenix is they're so fast and so mobile. They can easily outrun, outmaneuver these Queens. Catch drones on the transfer. Ugh. Super annoying here for a Laser. God, 3 Phoenix at a time. This is like a no fun zone, dude. Fleet Beacon comes up next. I mean, we've seen this before. We know the step 1, 2. Okay, who was it? Who was the awkward nerd that walked up to Rifkin? Everybody's an awkward nerd, dude. I'm an awkward nerd. Everybody. Find me someone who's not an awkward nerd. If you find someone super charismatic at one of these events, they don't belong to be at one of those events. You know what I'm saying? Paused. Pause coming out of Goblin. Tactically frustrating for his opponent. Now, a quick brief look at the US, like what's been lost here. Goblin has lost 2 probes and 2 zealots. This has been such an easy game for him so far. But I say that with like a massive asterisk because while this looks very similar to what happened with him versus Damaga, for Goblin that is, again, it's not the carriers that I think necessarily win this game.
Game resumed.
Okay. Oh, I guess he was streaming himself. It's not the carriers that are going to win this game. It's things like Templar and Archons and what have you. And so far, there's no sign of those. Some of these Phoenix getting really low. But he starts up the carriers anyways. He's on 3 bases. 3 bases is okay for now. He really is going to need 4 if he wants to sustain this for later on. But, ooh, finally a Phoenix goes down, but only 1. Keeps that really low one in the back. Nice micro control. Banelings are an interesting choice. So this is kind of a different version of the same tactic we saw Damaga employ. Where like the idea is that, okay, if the Lurkers can run up and suicide on the Archons and the Templar, mission accomplished. Whereas in this case, the Laser, rather than going for Lurkers, is instead opting for Banelings, which can still be effective. They can roll in and just hit those Templars. They're slow moving and don't escape very effectively. But there's no Templar in this one. It's all air units. And if like he's investing in melee upgrades, he's really hoping to make these Banelings and Zerglings work for him. I have some comments on that too, but just running around for some more free kills and still only losing like another Phoenix, barely. A Laser is supply blocked once again. But going back to what's going on for Goblin, right? One thing that he's not going to be able to do with these Phoenix, and he's especially not going to be able to do very well with slow-moving carriers, is catch a lot of Zerglings running around. So if a Laser's doing like these sick run-bys and he's moving on like the right side, left side of the map, you know, I think that might work for him. But as far as like this preparation for it is the anticipated Archon and Templar ball, so far that's not going to be happening anytime soon. There's no Twilight Council. There's certainly no Templar archives. I'm actually really perplexed about the game plan here from Goblin. It's like he's playing so bad that it will work out really well for him. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, these Phoenix are finally getting caught. A little bit awkward. Good job out of Elazer. He definitely needs to remove these. Goblin won't be remaking these anytime soon. He wants to put all of his efforts towards carriers, of course. Also, Yo, Mark, we were talking about you. I was in the Twitch lounge. We had like Anil, Johnny, Conrad, Zach, Cody. Like we had a ton of people from Twitch just chilling in the Twitch lounge. And we were talking about that tournament that you played and how most specifically you managed to make certain other players rage quit in a way. Funny and good times, man. But apparently a lot of people don't know that you, at your job, don't know that you play StarCraft. So quick thank you for that sub, but you gotta make your presence known, dude. What a badass, disgusting Protoss player you are. Speaking of badass, disgusting Protoss players, can Goblin pull off this fight? The carriers have got a lot of damage. The Banelings are rolling in. They look for the Zealots, but it's all they can connect to. The Phoenix, in the meantime, do pick up almost all of the Hydralisks. They've essentially been removed from play, but the carriers weren't microing. The carriers were targeting Zerglings, not Hydralisks. And who cares if the Zerglings and the Banelings run by? Those will be dealt with. So he's got to take a moment, catch his breath, take some losses. Oh! But Goblin loses his attempt at a fourth base and a lot of army supply. This was still a very expensive engagement out of Elazer, though. Even if he were to win this by killing all the Phoenix, he still is so far behind when it comes to actual, like, resources lost. Oh, 2 more Banelings cleaned up here. A little bit awkward. Nice pull away for Goblin. Still just kind of meandering around looking for something to do. I mean, losing a lot of probes, that was expensive and no fun, of course, but still finding a way to stay in this for a little bit longer. When it comes to bad trades, though, this works out worse for Goblin as time goes on. I mean, right now, Lazer's doing the thing. He's targeting interceptors, right? Like, he's not actually fighting the carriers. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm sure Zerg's... I mean, Lazer's like one of the best Zerg players I've ever seen. So I'm far from one to be right over his decision-making, but I'm just watching him die out here. GG! Goblin beats the Elazer game 1! What the front door? I can't even believe what I just witnessed. But this, I think, really goes back to the fact that Goblin didn't go for ground units when the Elazer may have been anticipating specifically that, ground units. So... did not work out well. Did not work out well. I am so shocked. I really should be sitting here going like, oh my god, Goblin guys, let's hype up Goblin. Goblin's winning against one of the best Zerg players in Europe. But I'm kind of like, Goblin does these stupid things that work against people when they shouldn't. And this was another example of that. I love it. I hate it. I love it. All right, we're gonna get into game number 2. I need to fix my little hat real quick. Whoop. And looks like Dreamcatcher is coming up next. Also, Mark had said, welcome back to the land of the living with a little heart in his resub message. Thank you, dude. All right, Dreamcatcher for game 2. Let's see how this goes. I would be straight up shocked if Elazer ended up in the losers bracket, but Goblin's on a hot streak right now, guys. I don't know. He beat Tamaga with a 2-0. He's up 1-0 against Elazer. Good luck, Elazer. Apparently, you're going to need it. We'll see you guys on Dreamcatcher. Did I not put this on the... I didn't, because it's on the people images screen. I have to do this manually. One sec. All right, I love this in chat. Who is he? Who is this guy? Well, he's, like I said, a very disgusting Protoss player. In the top left, we've got the pink Protoss Goblin. His opponent. To the lower right, for Team Clash, it's Elazer. But hey, quick shoutouts to Bentley Bus for the win, for that 3-month sub. Thanks for coming back, dude. I just sit here like... I have seen these games go down with Koreans. I've seen these games go down with foreigners. And to be honest, nobody seems to tackle the carrier situation perfectly. Like, even if it's Zest or whether it's a Goblin, when they go to that late game, we see Zergs of all kinds and of all skill calibers struggle. But the one thing I've seen pretty consistently today is we're seeing the foreigners, like the logic is sound. What they're trying to do is fight the interceptors, stutter back, and drag themselves away from the main army, so you're really only fighting interceptors, right? You're not in the range of Void Rays, or Cannons, or Zealots, etc. But because there was no ground army, there was no reason to fight that style, and that's why I'm just sitting here like, Elazer I kind of think should have targeted the carriers, but like question mark? Because the other thing he did really effectively that we saw Damaga fail to do was he actually killed a lot of Phoenix before that final fight came down, right? Like, if memory serves, I think it was like 5 or 6 Phoenix in that fight, not the like 13 he had against Damaga. So understandably so, you don't want to move up too close because you're just going to get crowd controlled. They'll just pick up all the Hydras. Oof. That's all I got for you guys. Oof. It's hard to say because there really does not seem to be one perfect way to fight against what Goblin does. It's just Goblin does this in a really weird way is all. Not standard, I guess. And again, the emphasis for that goes to the no ground support for it. But I don't know. The Roach attack was squashed early for Elazer. The Banelings were not the best choice because there were no Templar. Thus, there was clearly a lack of scouting. There's about 100 things that could be explained here. The reality is Elazer lost to some errors that I'm sure he will correct here for game 2. But P-Knuckle coming in for another 100 bits. Goblin fighting for the Horde. You know, I got a ton of maxed out characters in WoW. I've done most endgame content, except I stopped playing around when Argus got released, right? But I've still never made a Goblin because I just hate their starting area, dude. So much. Like, I know it's cool for some. I made a shaman and I pieced out of that class, out of that race so very quickly. Although, I don't know, is anyone else hyped for the Battle for Azeroth? I'm not like a super, like, World of Warcraft's never been like, oh my god, I'm gonna play World of Warcraft or die trying, but I've really liked the game. I always love coming back for expansions, and I think the Battle for Azeroth looks pretty dope. The cinematic release at BlizzCon, man, I had like those nerd chills and those goosebumps. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't. That was pretty good times. But oh, I've been given an update for what I should title the stream from Blizzard. Qualifier for WCS Challenger Season 2. There you go. All right. Updated and corrected. Hopefully there that looks a little bit better. Big Daddy Blizzard's watching. Just let me know if I need to change that again. But okay. This over here and done. Overlord gets picked off. A little supply block for Elazer, but also denied scouting. I guess we haven't really touched base on it. Wait a minute. What? That can't be real. Is he gonna proxy a hatchery? Why would you do this? No, this is just a mistake. He's totally misrallied these drones, and that's super awkward. But it's a charge lot attack coming out of Elazer. Now, again, going back on it, he did this game 1 versus Damaga. It failed pretty miserably, and I feel like I'm shocked to see he would do it versus Elazer, who has once again gone fast for a layer. He's got Hydralisk coming out. Now, there was a lot of, oh my god, how did Damaga hold this when he held it versus Goblin? And part of that was like a little bit of positioning around that ramp, a little bit of luck with the Queens being on the right side so that the Hydras weren't getting attacked. But like overall, charge lots are really, really scary. And I think with a couple of Phoenix added into this is going to be quite a spicy all-in that I'm not sure Elazer will necessarily handle super well. He needs to see it coming is the key thing, and so far, very little information. One of the things I was going to get into when that Overlord died is Elazer is like a one Overlord scout kind of guy. Some games he'll go speed, and usually that's more against Terrans, but just generally speaking, he's not one to have like 7 Overlords out on the map, especially against a player who's shown that they go Phoenix. So this attack totally catches him off guard. Surprise, surprise, warpers him in the main too. I mean, the ramp, if it's held with the Queen's blocking, but it's not. The Hydras aren't out. This is looking pretty bad. Now the Queens get in a little bit to the late on the north side, excuse me. Zealot's still going in that mineral line. Charge does a lot of damage on impact, and of course there's nothing shooting the warp prism. Nothing pushing it away. Goblin takes a 2-0 over Elazer. What world are we living in right now? This is truly the darkest timeline. I mean, hype to Goblin. And shout out to the Protoss who are watching. I am astonished that he just beat Elazer. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, up to you to decide. But there is a loser's bracket. We'll see if Elazer decides to stick it out, as it's oftentimes a lot of players will get to the loser's bracket and then dip. But I'm trying to figure out if there's any games coming up soon that we can cast. In the meantime, I'm going to head to commercial break. So thank you guys for watching. If you're interested, consider checking out the stream sponsor, Sennheiser, type in !headset in the chat, and I'll be back in a minute. See you guys.